Okay, listen up. I launched my mastermind this week and sold it out with a very ugly Google Doc. And I want you to tell me which one of these you think did best. I did a very beautifully formatted Google Doc, and I did one that was literally a brain dump of all of my thoughts and information, kind of just like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. I'm going to bring this group of people in. I'm going to do this. That's the ugly Google Doc. Which one in the comments, let me know, do you think converted best and why? I'm going to talk you through my process inside of this video, so don't worry, hang tight. We're going to go through exactly what I did. We're going to go through some of the psychology around why it did so well. And my hope is that outside of this video, you're going to stop overcomplicating the launching and the sales process. It is sort of a bit of a break from me talking about low ticket sales, daily sales, passive income, because this is very much not passive income. This is me taking somebody into a high ticket offering, high touch and proximity container. But all of these clients, I will say, have experienced low ticket from me, or definitely have come through some form of a long form evergreen channel, whether it be this one here on YouTube or if you are a longtime podcast listener. So it has proven itself over and over again that this is the way to sell coaching and mentoring in 2026, especially for those of you who do not want to be on long-winded sales calls and long processes to bring people into high ticket. Let's get into this video. And if you're already excited to learn more about it and you love the energy, please hit the like button. It's always a very, very big thing in the YouTube world. Whenever you hit a like, it takes me out to more people. So thank you so much for already doing that. Let's go to the very beautifully formatted Google Doc. So you'll see all the details in here of the mastermind that I have just sold out. It's called the Daily Sales Mastermind. It's very high touch mentoring for coaches, mentors, and online educators, basically for people who want to build a really consistent, reliable income. Now you'll see here that it's well done. You know, there's beautiful fonts, there's boxes, there's dot points, and it's really, really easy to read through. Let me now show you the other Google Doc where it was, I called it the brief, and it literally does kind of feel like this. This is like an internal brief that I'd be sending to my CEO in corporate world. It's very quick. This is my thinking around this. Can you please approve? That was kind of the energy I was going with. So you'll see here, look at it. It is so chill, and literally it's a one-pager. It opens up with, hey, so here's the deal. I'm going to take 15 people and personally help them build a daily sales system that actually works. Sales every single day, passive income, running in the background, offers that feel completely aligned with who you are and what you do. I go into the very casual, here are the dot points of what you would get. Here's the bonuses. Here is the investment. Let me know if you're in. And basically it takes them directly. You'll see here in terms of the hyperlink that it's just like, if you want in, here is the link. And people literally enrolled themselves into the mastermind themselves. There is something so magnetic about the way that this is done. It feels almost like a private invitation of sorts from a close friend or someone in your network that's only really done in terms of, hey, you know, this is something that only my inner circle really know about. I want you to come in. We're so, well-versed now with each other that I know you don't need a really fancy sales page. I think you just want to get to the crux of it and know what this is about. So obviously this is really going to work if you already have trust with your network. If you're brand new, if you literally have no branding, no social media following, it may be not the right move for you, but I'm speaking to those of you that are more experienced coaches who are frustrated with the fact that you are not selling anything high ticket right now. Things just feel at a standstill. Things used to work the more formal way and the, more kind of done way with webinars and sales pages and sales calls, but something deep inside has to shift and change. This is the shift and the change. Now, I'm not saying I don't have a sales page. I actually have a really beautiful sales page. Actually, let me show you. This is what the actual formal sales page looks like. I absolutely love it. And it's got the call to action there straight away. It's a long sales page. It talks about exactly why I made this. Here are the testimonials. This is what you're going to get. This is the daily sales method that I take you through inside of the mastermind. There are the testimonials. I'm loving this page. But not one of my mastermind clients who had signed up for this was directed to this page. And you might be going, Rubes, why did you make this in the first place? This is more of a branding piece. This is something that, I know people will go to and visit as and when they find my account, and they might go, okay, well, I wonder if she's got a mastermind. Oh, I'm going to bank that. And then they might see it again and again or hear me talk about it again and again. And eventually it becomes a point of association. And they may just want to know the details, at the time, but maybe not quite ready to sign up yet. That is totally fine. Now, going back to the question I asked at the very start of the video, which one of the documents do you think converted better? If you said the ugly one, ding, 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 you are correct. We'll call it the ugly one, the brain dump one. That one did so much better. And I think I've got a reason why this is, right? So Doc A, the pretty one, was the one that I actually spent a lot of time on. It had headers, it had sections, as you saw, a really clean layout. If you printed it out, maybe you'd be like, oh, this actually looks really great printed out. Doc B, this one over here, was the one that I kind of just thought last minute, I want to test this. I want to see where it lands. So I just typed words on a white page and I sent both to two different segments of my audience. So basically people in the first 24 hours, if you're in the mastermind, you would have got Doc A. If you sent me a message after the 24 hours, that's when I sort of thought, you know what, this is a good opportunity. I want to test how this one goes. I want to see the different segments of my audience. Same offer, same price, just different packaging. Doc B did significantly higher. And this tracks with what we're seeing across the board right now. The marketing data that I've been looking at around what is really changing in terms of selling, coaching, education, a mentoring of any kind, it's actually quite wild. Raw, unpolished content is consistently outperforming designed content. Now, if you're a designer and someone who really appreciates that, obviously that is your brand. But if you're someone that's really held back from posting anything, creating anything, launching anything because of the design component, this is great news because the research is showing that low fidelity content, think mobile recorded, unedited, undone sort of messy writing converts better than polished ads or a polished, beautifully done marketing brochure because people now appreciate raw with trustworthy. In this world where there's so much information, there's so much beautifully done AI work, think about your own behavior. When something looks too perfect, when something looks so good, your brain's actually going to go, this is an ad. When something looks like a real person sat down or you wrote a message that's kind of on the go, and yes, it's not like you don't care for them, but it's like, hey, I care enough about you that I don't want to mess around. This is what I'm thinking right now. Or you're sending a voice message. This is my little voice message hand. And it's like, hey, so I'm on the way to the shop, so just ignore the screaming children in the background. But this is what I'm thinking for us as we work together over the next 12 months. So let me know if this is what you're after. There is something about that, right? Like there's this energy that comes with the presence of, wow, she's keeping it real. She's keeping it raw. I call this the authenticity filter. So let's take a look at what your audience's brain is sorting out right now. Put yourself in the shoes of the consumer. You would also totally get this. You can think about it in terms of two different buckets. Is this marketing? Is someone trying to directly sell at me? Or does this feel real? Does it feel like it's something that I need right now? Is she speaking to me? The ugly Google Doc, the undone one, has passed the filter. The pretty one, not so much. I want you to drop a comment actually. Have you ever bought something because it felt so raw and so real? Or have you been turned off by something that was genuinely too sleek? Like maybe you realized at the very last process, wow, this is like so good and so polished, but almost too polished. I genuinely want to know what that was. It could be something product-based. It could be something that to do with coaching, but I've definitely been there. My last coach that I signed with and worked with, as in I was the mentee and he was the coach, he literally sold to me also in a bunch of text messages and one tiny Google Doc. This was years and years ago. And I remember thinking at the time, this is so weird. I can't believe that I'm saying yes to a $30,000 program. And he's just texting me. And to keep it real, he's like, hey, I just want you to know that I'm not a bot. And he took a selfie of himself in front of his laptop showing the messages on his screen, like my live messages coming through. I was like, this is so cool. I feel like I'm right there with him, that he sees me, that he's chatting to me about this stuff. oh my gosh, like there was something absolutely about that. And I think that kind of seeded in my mind a little bit of like, one day I want to feel confident enough to do that. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. The Google Doc didn't do the heavy lifting alone. Of course not. Like there's so many layers behind it. People have watched long form evergreen. People have, consumed low ticket offers from me before. But more specifically, there was a 48-hour period before I had dropped the whole, hey, I've got something coming up, and giving them the brief and giving them the Google Docs itself that made this whole thing work. So this is what I call the strategic breadcrumbing strategy. I teach this quite exclusively inside of the Mastermind, but I'll let you guys in on it for today. This is predominantly done on Instagram stories. So I'll walk you through the concept, because once you understand the psychology behind it, you will never ever launch the same way again. Let's head over to the iPad. Okay, so we've got the 3 principles there that you'll see right at the yellow dots. Okay, so you've got an open loop that you're going to create, the curiosity hook, and the specificity drop. So these 3 areas is what I see a lot of coaches and mentors miss out on in the first 48 hours prior to actually giving them the thing. So the open loop might be something along the lines of you're waking up the algorithm to something interesting. And it could be like, guys, I'm thinking about creating something that I've never made before. It's very specific. It's only going to be for about 15 of you. And especially for those of you who have been struggling to piece together how passive income could actually work and why it leads to you having a really abundant business without you needing to do anything on the sales front. So that's an open loop. The brain hates open loops. It cannot stand when, you're left on a cliff edge, a cliffhanger, and you have to keep watching the next episode, or you have to keep reading the next chapter. So thinking about that, where are you leaving people where they're wanting to lean in more? The curiosity hook would be something sort of similar, but it's also more specific. So you'd be saying, if you're a coach, mentor, or service provider who has been trying to get this up and running for a little while, and you know that sales are slowing down and you can't quite work out why, I've got something for you that's going to be coming up tomorrow. So keep your eyes peeled. That's all it is. You're just getting people warmed up. You're just getting people lent in and getting them interested. The specificity drop post is going to be, hey, I've got it. It's here. Can you please DM me the word brief and I'll send that to you. So you're just literally dropping them straight in to what it is that you've already led them to. The open loop, the curiosity hook, and then the rest of it is the DMs, what goes in there, the doc drop, the in between, the conversions, the what I'm saying exactly so that they are converting and going hell yes. And more interestingly also how they go from yeah, I'm sort of keen, I'm sort of interested, I don't really know what this is about, to I'm in. So the idea is really simple. Over 48 hours, you're dropping tiny pieces of information, little breadcrumbs that build this sense of curiosity. You're creating this emotional sense of investment, and you're getting people reaching out, or at least they might be going, you know what, I'm going to follow Ruby, I'm going to see what she's got going on, I'm going to keep her stories really close. That's something to be said about launching in a way that does feel easier. Why a lot of people don't get a ton of results launching on social media is because they honestly don't do that. You might not have done that. If you're saying to me that sales are really slow right now, I'm going to guess that maybe you don't know how to do that bit, or it's not something that you've mastered yet. And that's okay. This is why we've got this channel. This is why I'm going to talk you through it. So make sure you do those aspects before you even share the offer. And I promise you the results will be a lot better. So think about this. I want to go deeper into strategic breadcrumbing so that you can kind of see what that looks like. Every single time that I do this and I take the time to strategically breadcrumb all the way to the offer, and by the time I share the Google Doc, people have actually been watching my stories for 24 hours. They are lent in and they're clear. They've already DM'd me asking, hey, can I have early access? They've already told me what their business is really struggling with at the moment. So when the doc dropped, it wasn't just a cold, hey, buy this. It wasn't a pitch landing in their inbox out of absolutely nowhere. It was actually the answer to what they were looking for this whole time. I cannot tell you how many DMs I got with people saying, I have been wanting and manifesting and calling in a mastermind that was really going to help me with this. I wanted a level of proximity, but I also wanted a level of self-study. Honestly, just feels like you have designed this for me. I had people who were just about to go on maternity leave and have a baby and saying they had every chance to go, this isn't the right timing. But because the offer was so clean and it was so on target, they were like, I don't care. I'm still going to join. I know I'm going to have a baby in 3 weeks, but we're still going to make this happen. And this is exactly where I want to be. Love that. That's when an offer is so bang on. I also had another client say, oh my God, I've just signed with another mastermind. I already hate it. I don't know how to get out of that one, but I want to come to this one. So that's, obviously their prerogative. They can do what they need to do there. But even just hearing feedback like that tells you that the offer you've put out there is so clear. Again, I haven't done any major sales tactics. There's no sales calls involved, nothing of the kind. This Google Doc, the ugly one, had made me $15,000. To think that that's what came through in 1 week is absolutely mind-blowing, and it happens again and again. By the way, as a side note, I'll leave this at the end of this video actually. I made another video which just blew up last year, which is how I made my first $1,000 with a $9 Google Doc. So there is some magic that's happening right now. Even almost 1 year later, the Google Doc is still trumping the sales page. Now, I'm going to be really transparent with you. I'm not able to share all the things like my exact scripts, what I did in my stories, the exact DMs I sent on YouTube. I want to be able to take you through the whole process. I want to show you what goes into the open loops, what goes into the specificity, what goes into the invitation, and ironing out any problems, questions, issues. That's all done in the DMs. If you're interested to see exactly what that looks like, and if you want to learn how to do this, I've actually got a masterclass which is coming up. I'll leave the link below. It is something that I know I'm going to design all of it so that you can see the actual screenshots, the actual messages that I'm sending to people so that you can follow this step by step for yourself as well. Once you learn how to flip the script literally around how you sell high ticket, this is the most freeing strategy that I know that you will find very, very useful. I used to spend months and months building things out and pouring my absolute heart into it. And then I tried to sell it only to hear crickets. And that's just devastating. I don't want you to do that. I want you to learn how to sell. I want you to learn how to use low ticket offers to strategically open doors for you so that there is constant feedback in your business. There's constant open loops. There's constant curiosity hooks. There's so much demand that you know exactly what your clients and your customers want. If you're sitting there going, well, how did you even know that this mastermind was needed? It's because it was fed back through my low ticket offers. People were saying, I love this, I want more. I love this, I need more help. I love this, I want more proximity. So thinking about the way that you are also currently selling, and if things do feel really challenging right now and you really need help with this, I'm sure this mastermind is going to help you really bridge the gap with what's going on and how you can sell differently in 2026. Okay, so as a recap, in case you want to call it a funnel, this is what it looked like. So you can kind of get a visual in your head of how simple it can be. So it was stories into DMs, into the ugly Google Doc. That's the one that I eventually landed on. And then the sale or the enrollment coming through. The Google Doc that won was the one that was very real, very raw. It was the one that looked like I had just sat down and talked them through the page. So I'm not going to pretend that this is as simple as just post some stories and send a Google Doc. The strategy behind what you say, when you say it, how you move the conversation from, someone who's really curious to feeling really committed and ready to go, that's the skill that I want you to master, and that's the craft. And that's what I've spent years building, and that's why I've put it all inside of the 1 hour masterclass. So make sure if you want to have a look behind the curtains and the full day-by-day breadcrumb strategy, the exact DM scripts that I used as well, screenshots of all the real conversations, how I responded at every stage, how I wrote the Google Doc itself, and what I prompted AI to say to help me write that Google Doc. I think that's also a really important step so it still sounds like you. And how I also approached the people who are like, what is this, to I'm in. That's the exciting part around how I talk about sales and selling. And you can do this from like when you're on the go, okay? You're not needing to put aside any Zoom calls and lock away 30 minutes of your time and then eventually not convert that person. You can do it all whilst you're living your life and seeing all the DMs and all the money flow come in as well. Now, before you go, I do have a question for you, and I'm going to read every single reply and answer every single one. So please tell me in the comments, what is one offer in your business that you have been totally overcomplicating? Maybe you've been building a sales page when you could have probably just written a Google Doc and sent it to your warm to hot leads or to your following of some kind. Maybe you've been planning a 6-week launch when you could have just tested it in 48 hours. What was it? Drop it below. What has this video opened you up to around, wow, I'm really fascinated by this. I really want to try it. Because I promise you, simplifying it will be the fastest way to make a sale. And if you're not willing to simplify it, you're probably more comfortable in the complexities so that you're not actually needing to sell. Think about that, okay? Subscribe if you haven't already. And also, like I promised, I'm going to link the $9 Google Doc video right here, which you can watch next. I'll see you there.